Rick Melton. And I've got it's 10 minutes for Mr. Melton.
Rick Melton, P.O. Box 4, Millington, Tennessee, and I'm blue to the bone. I'm mad, I'm angry, and I'm absolutely disgusted with y'all. I came up here with the intention originally of saying nasty things and calling you names, but I'm not going to do that because I want you to listen to what I got to say. It's important. I'm going to use my time here to inform you and inform the public because surprisingly, even with all of your vast knowledge, including the doctor that's absent, you have no idea what you've done. You have no idea where this is going to go. You know that you robbed the retirees. You know good and well that you're helping fleece this city tax dollars on corporate welfare. You know that you've created a disgruntled workforce that's never, ever going to trust this city council to do the right thing again. But you never thought along the way what this is really going to cost the city. You got tax dollars being flushed down the toilet because trained and experienced paramedics, firemen, policemen are going to leave this city in droves, leave it in its rubble. Some of them's already gone. You heard from one earlier. You're betting that they all won't leave. And you're right, everybody can't leave for different reasons. But what are you going to have left? You're going to have a workforce of unhappy employees. That's going to be reflected in their work. And you can believe that, one way or another. You basically created a city, by taking the health care away, you've created a city of employees that are going to have to stay here till they're 65. Now you've got a fire department, a police department, and paramedics that are sitting here waiting on Medicare. 65 years old, going to try to come up there and pick you up, Mr. Strickland, off the ground when you've been in a bad accident. How are they going to do it? You sit back and think, well, so what? The other people work till they're 65 years of old. But like we've been telling you, these aren't regular jobs. These aren't jobs that every citizen can do. Policemen and firemen don't fall out of the sky. It takes a lot of training, it takes a lot of hard work, and it takes a lot of dedication. You basically sat there and claimed, oh, well, we're worried about the image of Memphis. We want to make sure that we've got a good image. You worry about crime stats and where we stand on the national charts. Well, that's either cheap political talk or you really just don't understand and get it. You've just voted to push this city in a downward spiral with your health care debacle. With these changes that y'all have enacted, you've effectively turned this police department into a reporting department, and I'm going to explain that. First, I want to ask you, which one of you, behind that little wall up there, would take off and chase an armed suspect in the dark, on foot, knowing that if he hurts you, you have no health care. Your family has no security. None of you, not a single one of you is going to chase that man. Well, you expect the police officers to do it. You want the policemen to get out there and do that because that's their job. They took an oath. I know a lot of men and women that'll do that. I know a lot of men and women that have. I know a lot of men and women who have been shot. They've been stabbed. They've been left in the road for dead. They've been left laying in somebody's backyard with 5 bullet holes in them, chasing that suspect that you won't chase. But anyway, your haphazard voting, sitting up there behind your desk, told us that that's not good enough. That going out and putting your life on the line, getting injured, getting crippled, that's not worth our health care. You're in the line of duty, retirement, and you're not 65 yet. Go get on Obamacare. Thanks. That's not going to cut it. That's not what we signed up for. That's not what we were promised. We came here expecting benefits for our entire career and afterwards for our entire life. We put our lives on the line for lifelong benefits. That's what we want. That's what we deserve. You're not giving it to us. We earned it. We worked for it. To take permanently injured officers and firefighters who are injured in the line of duty and pricing them off of their health care is ridiculous. It ought to be criminal. The citizens of Memphis don't like it. They don't know it because we hadn't got out there and preached it yet, but they will, and they're not going to put up with it. That's going to cost you. I've heard a lot this past week about our oath to serve and protect. Well, who's protecting us? Who is protecting us when we go out or when we get hurt? Nobody. So in return for your well-thought-out decisions, this city will now have a reactive police force rather than a proactive police force, and I'll explain that. But yet this administration lies to the citizens and says, oh, public safety is priority number one. Not so much. Police officers and firefighters in this city will no longer be able to to afford to put their lives on the line. There's no security for their families and their sacrifice. As a result of just reporting the crime in Memphis rather than fighting and preventing it, the crime stats here are going through the roof. You can bank on it. It's coming. Where do you think that will rank Memphis in 2 years and forward on places to live, on the FBI crime stats list? It's going to be astronomical. And how is this going to be good for Memphis? You're supposed to be working for Memphis. How will this be good for Memphis? How will it be good for the citizens? How's it going to affect tourism? Because that's supposed to be your bottom dollar. You and this administration really don't care about Memphis, in my opinion, because you can't look past the nose on your face to see what you're doing. You don't think about these things when you're making decisions up there because you've never done these jobs and you've never bothered to ask any of us our opinion or what we thought. It's amazing to me that the city government can find the necessary funds to promote corporate welfare. You find funds, just like state and federal governments do, to fund social welfare. But when it comes to paying people what they've earned, what they deserve, you're broke. That is socialism. You want to make the working men and women carry the load for everyone until they have nothing and they become dependent on this government too. Employees of the city didn't squander away these tax dollars. The men upstairs who choose not to be here, they wrote it up and y'all approved it, each one of you. Some of you like to compare the city government to businesses, and you say you want to run it like a business. Well, the last time I checked in the business world, when a business is going under, when a business is being mismanaged, they don't crawl down from the towers and fire the people on the assembly line. They don't take their benefits. They start firing at the top. That's what Memphis needs to do. They need to start firing at the top. We need to clean house. Because the people in office here do not have the city's best interest at heart, I can assure you. You were elected to do a job by the people and for the people. That job requires you to be informed and be knowledgeable about the actions you're going to take and the ramifications of those actions before you vote, not after. Your seat requires more than just making an appearance here, voting to pass whatever crosses your desk because somebody told you it was good. If you don't want the job, if you can't do the job, then you're like our mayor. You're not a leader. Just jump up and go. We need leaders. We need people to make the right decision. This administration, and some of you folks up there on the board, you moaned and groaned about the blue flu and the red rash like it was some kind of tragedy. You did that because it was bringing attention. It was bringing public attention to the poor management in this city. I commend those fine men and women for doing what they did. I commend them for recognizing the toll that this city was taking on their mind and their bodies. And it just saddens me that more employees didn't recognize their symptoms and work through their illness. But should those rare illnesses raise their ugly heads again, I hope every one of them recognize their symptoms and bring this city to their knees. Because that's the only way you're going to listen. It was proven this time that is the only way you recognize our pain, our suffering, and that's the only way you'll listen, and the citizens will listen too. And on a final note, it's true, I don't reside in Memphis city limits anymore. I live in Millington. But I lived here for most of my life. And I assure you, each and every one of you, that I've paid my due to this city. I played it with my real blood, my broken bones, my mental fatigue, my sweat, my tears, and the disruption of my family life. I'd like to know what any of you have paid for this city. Other than your tax dollars, what have you given to this city? No, I don't live in her limits anymore, but I have lots of friends and family that still live here. And I assure you that I'm still close enough to Memphis to participate in any boots on the ground, grassroots efforts that will work to clear your asses of those seats and that little turd upstairs too. Hey, and once your seats are empty, then y'all can look at the mailbox every day and wonder where your letter is that says you can go to the Affordable Health Care Act for your health care.
Thank you, Mr. Melton.